Good day, ma'am. I am Jabel P. Sagusay from BCHM 3B, and this is my Chapter 9 entitled Law Regulating Travel and Tour Services. So, with the advancement of technology, travelers can now book their travel arrangement through the internet. While this provides quicker and cheaper access to good tour packages, much of the business of travel and tour sector has been adversely affected. It is according to Paul, President, Greater Manila and Travel Association. So, before that, here are the list of the learning objectives. So, first is enumerate the procedure in setting up a travel agency. The second is identify the responsibilities of a legitimate travel agency or tour operator. And third, differentiate ethical from ethical practices by travel agencies and tour operator. And lastly, give examples of issues concerned and problems travel agency and tour operators may have in the conduct of their business. So, here's are the topic outline. So, first is the nature and description of the business. Second is accreditation of travel agency and tour operators. Third is accreditation of tour guides. And fourth is prohibition against engaging in recruitment activities. So first is the nature and description of the business. So, tour operator shall mean an entity which may either be a single proprietorship, partnership, or corporation regularly engaged in the business of existing to individual or groups such services pertaining to arrangement and booking for transportation and or accommodation, handling and or conduct of inbound tour whether or not for a fee, commission, or any form of compensation. So a tour guide shall mean an individual who guides tourists both foreign and domestic for a fee, commission, or any other form of lawful remuneration. So a travel agency is covenant with the customer to make travel arrangement of their behalf. A travel agency services include procuring tickets and facilitating travel permits or visas as well as booking customers for tours. The relation of the travel agency with respect to a common carrier is that it's merely act of agent of common carrier. So under the Republic Act number 8239, also known as the Philippine Passport Act of 1996, renewal of application for the insurance of passport may be filled by any licensed travel agency duly accredited by the Department of Foreign Affairs, provided that the agent shall be responsible for authenticity of the supporting document being presented to meet the requirements of the application of passports. Next is the accreditation of travel agencies and tour operators. So, under the section 2, who may apply for accreditation? The following may apply for accreditation as the tour operator and travel agency. So the first one is the resident Filipino citizen, a partnership organized under the laws of the Philippines, at least 60% of its capital being owned by Filipino citizens, and corporation organized under the laws of the Philippines, at least 60% of subscribed common or voting shares of stocks of which owned by Filipino citizen, and the composition of board of directors being at least 60% Philippines. So under the section 4, additional requirements for a tour operator using a motor vehicle. No tour operator shall use any motor vehicle while conducting tours or transporting tourists useless such as motor vehicle is accredited with the Department of Sporting and Tourist Plate. And under the section 5, minimum office requirements, the tour operator shall comply with the following office requirements. So the first requirement is it shall be located in a commercial district and not is in a residential district. Second, it must be easily identifiable and shall be used exclusively for a tour operation business. So, in discussion of the law, The foregoing provision provide for the minimum requirements for accreditation and operation of a travel agency and or tour operator by Department of Tourism. Take note of the investing limitation of foreigners in engaging as a travel agency or tour operators in the Philippines. So accreditation under the International Air Transport Association or ITA, accredits two distinctive types of travel agency: airlines appointed agency holding ticket stock or capable of a ticketing, and all other categories of travel agency called travel sales intermediary or TSI agencies. It is essential to both program in a set of objective with appropriate business standard that travel agency must meet. So the first one is the airline appointed services. So when a travel agency is appointed by the airline through ITAN, the owner enters into an agency agreement with one of the more ITANs or 79 customer airlines. Each airline sets its own standard for appointing travel agency, and each airline may selected a number of appointment criteria. Travel agencies require remuneration, generally in the form of commission on the sales of air transportation services. The rate of commission is set between the individual agency and the each airlines. So any travel agency holding standard and of airline tickets stock or capable to ticketing may apply of ETA airline appointed agency. The standards of accreditation will be based on the following. So the first one is the managerial qualifier. So a managerial qualifier has made by for a full-time person authorized to make managerial decision and exercise daily supervision for a location, and who has had at least 2 years full-time employment within the last 10 years in a managerial position and at accredited agency or corporate travel department, or in a passenger air transportation sales capacity and the airline of at least 3 years full-time employment within last 10 years as sales counselor of the accredited agency or corporate travel department of the passenger air transportation sales capacity at the airlines, or at least 4 years full-time employment within last 10 years in managerial position in a travel-related business such as hotel, cruise lines, or tour operator that offers travel services to the general public. Second is the technical qualifier. So a technical qualifier is a full-time person who perform or supervise the performance of all technical aspects of selling commercial air transportation. For example, is making reservations, insuring tickets, assigning seats, generating other traffic documents, and etc. So he must have at least 1 year full-time experience in this field within the last 3 years at the accredited agency or an airlines or an corporate travel departments, has successfully passed the accredited or ERC, rather specialist of CAS test administered by the Airlines Reporting Corporation or ARC. Next is the premises and financial capabilities and security standard. So, next is the accreditation of tour guides. So, in other section 9, requirements for insurance for accreditation and applicant for accreditation as the tour guide shall submit the following. So, first is proof that the applicant has passed a seminar for a tour guides duly conducted by the Department of Tourism or other agency duly authorized by the department to conduct the seminar, provided however that its requirements may be waived by the department where the applicant possessed special academic or professional qualification relevant to the tourism. Next is certificate of good health issued by any duty accredited government physician. Next is the clearance for the National Bureau of Investigation in case of aligned applicants, valid visa from the Bureau of Immigration, and the proper permit from the Department of Labor and Employment. Next is the mayor's permit or municipal license. Then last and Next is the latest income tax and return, and last is such other documents that the department may be required from time to time. So, in the discussion of the law, the above are the minimum requirements for the accreditation of as a tour guide by the Department of Tourism. It is vital that an accredited tour guide must have passed a seminar for a tour guides duly conducted by the Department of Tourism of its duly authorized agencies. Next is the responsibilities of business entities engaged in travel and tour services. So, travel agencies needs to take necessary precaution by exercising prudence and due diligence of all times. Under the present state of the law, extraordinary diligence is not required in a travel or tour contract. However, the travel agency acting as a tour operator must nevertheless be held to strict accounting for contracted services, considering the public interest of tourists, whether it's local or in the international scene. Moreover, a tour guide is supposed to attend to our veterinary needs of tourists not only with the letter for ask for assistance, but the moment such as need become apparent. In other words, the tour guide, especially by reason of the experience is the previous tours, must be able to anticipate the possible needs and problems of tourists instead of waiting for them to bring it his attention. While this is stating the obvious. So next is the prohibition against engaging in recruitment activities. So under the Article 26 or the Labor Code of the Philippines, travel agencies prohibited to recruit. Travel agency or sales agency or airlines companies are prohibited from engaging in the business or recruitment and placement of worker for overseas employment, whether for a profit or not. So under the Republic Act number 8792 on June 14, 2000, also known as the Electronic Commerce Act, an electronic document refers to information of the representation of information data, figures, symbols, or the modes of written expression describe or how represent by which right is established or obligates extinguished or by which of the fact will be proved and affirmed, which is received, recorded, transmitted, stored, processed, retrieved, or product electronically. So, the confirmation document is a ticketing constitutes as the electronic documents by which a right of established or an obligation is extinguished. It is already equivalent rather to a passes or airline tickets and the contract of carriage, which can be classified as the best evidence in providing the best practices or evidence to provide of proving that a contract of carriers exists. Consequently, electronic documents shall have the legal effect, validity, or enforceability as any other documents or legal writing provides. Said electronic documents maintain its integrity and reliability and can be authenticated for so as to be usable for subsequent reference. For evidentiary purposes, an electronic document shall be a functional equivalent for a written document under existing law. So, according to Karen Hagerhest, the travel and tourism industry is just a huge part of our economy. And that's all about my chapter 9. And thank you. Have a nice day ahead.